Hey everyone, this is my CES 2019 wrap up. I just wanted to talk about some of the things that I didn't specifically make individual videos on, but I do have some video clips and some pictures that I wanted to show you. First off, we're going to start with DOF Robotics. They had a VR simulator there. It was like a full motion, full like crazy roller coaster simulator. And I guess they're in 40 countries around the world. And they've got product in New York City and LA, so if that's something that you want to go try out, you can check it out. This thing looked insane. It had all degrees of motion. It had full 360 on the rotation. It had like, I believe, 5 or 6 actuators, and they were all electric actuators. So that was really cool to see, like, the engineering feat that was, especially to just have it on the show floor and then throw attendees into it. It was really neat. I had a really good time watching that. Unfortunately, the line was like 100 people deep at least, and probably, I think each ride was about 3 to 5 minutes. So it was a lot longer to stand in line than probably most lines at Disneyland. So I wasn't going to be getting on that ride. Another company I wanted to talk about in the robotics sphere was the Omron Robotics. Omron brought some really cool technology to CES. The first piece of equipment that they brought was it was kind of like an automated assembly line. Basically, it had these little shelf magnets that were cruising on a conveyor belt, and then it had an arm at one end where it would pick colors based on, you would enter your information, the color you wanted, and it would find those, and then it would pick those for you and place those exactly how you wanted them. And then it would deliver them to you on the other end. It was a pretty interesting way to show off their technology. It was very impressive. It was very fast. In addition, they gave us a demonstration on what happens if it gets overloaded. And it just, it can get overloaded. It's not perfect. But it was really, really fast. You can see from the video just the range of motion that it had. It was very impressive. I was blown away with the automation technology that went into that. Next up, at CES every year, there is amazing cars that they bring. Last year, one of my favorites was the NVIDIA self-driving race car that they had that was AI powered. This year, the first one that caught me off guard was the BMW iNext. It was self-driving. It looked like you were in an office with full wraparound monitors, and they kind of targeted it as the ultimate commuting device. Basically, the idea behind it is that you would be in the car, you could have conferences, you could be doing work, you could order food, you could do all these things that you would do in front of a computer, but you're doing it in front of your car because your car is now autonomous. And so this concept car, they're predicting that they want to be to production by 2025 with these types of self-driving technologies. It wasn't fully autonomous. It still had a steering wheel and pedals, but I don't believe that this concept car actually moves. Now, which is something different with other than people pushing it. This is something different with the Mercedes EQ Silver Arrow. So that was another really neat car that I was able to see. Basically, this is an electric race car. It's only a single passenger base, or a single driver, basically. There is no other room for anything else, so it's absolutely made for race car type application. And there's a couple things that was interesting about it. They didn't let us get too close to it. I didn't even have a media tag, and so I was just kind of on the outskirts. But I was able to find out that it does have its own self-driving simulator inside of the car. So it has like a dashboard that lights up, that's an LED monitor. And basically with that, you've got... you can do so many things with that, and then they've chosen to do it as a heads-up display, but then also the self-driving simulator, so it's like a video game inside of the car, which is interesting. I don't know, I just thought it was really impressive and really neat. And the thing about this car is it's actually drivable. They can move it. People have driven it before. There's video online of people driving that car. I don't know if they've driven it as fast as they think it will go. But yeah, and the other thing too is they drive it not necessarily with a person in it, but with a remote controller. It's all RC. It's basically a big RC car. So that was pretty funny. The next car that I thought was really interesting was the Hyndai Mobis. So the thing about the Hyndai Mobis is I feel like this is taking us back to a time when, that we were promised, thanks to like Total Recall in the 90s. Basically, this car is just so square and weird, and basically it's a ride share vehicle. Like, it goes, picks people up, fully autonomous concept car. I couldn't find out too many details about it, but it was pretty interesting to see. One thing that I always like to do every single year is to go visit the LG booth. LG brings a whole range of things, from their kitchen stuff, their washers and dryers, to all sorts of things, including their TVs and monitors and displays. They always try to bring something very impressive, and this year was no different. As soon as you walk into the main show floor, basically, like, you are entered into LG's booth. It's ginormous. It's probably one of the biggest ones at the show. And basically, what they've done last year and this year is taken a number of their displays and created them into a work of art. Last year, they had it set up like a canyon, and had the Narrows and Subways pictures from there on the screens, and it was like one giant picture, and it was really neat to walk through. This year they had it set up kind of like a waterfall demonstration, and like it wrapped around over your head, and so it was just a really beautiful display, and it was very immersive. It was really neat. Not that that's practical, that you're going to end up with, I don't know, there had to be probably 200, maybe 300 total displays. Anyways, it's that type of stuff that, brings me back to CES each year, because, people are just demonstrating just next level crazy ideas and technology, and they're putting it together and displaying it in such a way that is, it's mind-blowing. It's really inspiring too, so it's really neat to see that. Every year at CES, you always run into awesome tech, but then you also find stuff that just is absolutely scary. And that's the case for this company called Quanergy that I stumbled across as I was walking down the show floor. They've got some pretty crazy looking tech, but also I think it's pretty scary. Basically what they're doing is they're taking real-time cameras and they're adding LiDAR to those cameras, not necessarily to the camera themselves, but just in the same vicinity of that camera. And so what they're doing then is tying those two technologies together to where you could have a point tilt zoom camera, or PTZ camera, that then is tied to tracking. Let's say somebody walks into the space the LiDAR is tracking, and now you could have that LiDAR, or rather that camera, is fixed to that person as they're moving through the area which the LiDAR detects. And so it's pretty fascinating that they're combining those two types of technologies in order to do increased security, increased tracking. They did have a demonstration with a police car there, where the police car had the LiDAR up on the top of the car, and then it was using cameras around the car, and it was also showing that information in the console, to where you could see if there's people walking near the car, if there's threats near the car. Very fascinating type of tech, being able to combine those things. And then additionally, they had probably 6 or 7 cameras throughout their booth area that then also had the LiDAR on it as well. And then they had a display that showed every single person that was within their area. And then they were using some sort of machine learning to be able to detect which are people. They would draw the boxes around the people for detection. The other interesting thing is they were using you could see they were using Linux, Ubuntu, and it looked like they were probably using Python for some of the things that they were doing. And then they were using VLC to live stream to their videos. So it was kind of neat to kind of see that they threw some tools together, some similar tools that I know how to use. The other interesting thing is that they were able to then track targets too over time, so they could fix a node, and based on their software they were able to then pick up, so in this case it would be a person, they could watch a person as they walked through the booth, for example, because of all the different LiDAR points that they were tracking. In addition to that, they then would be able to focus a camera from multiple places as they were walking through that booth, and so basically it gives you more power and flexibility over a PTZ. They're looking at, like I said, law enforcement, but they're also looking at increasing perimeter security. So a lot of perimeter security things are reactive. You know, it's like you've got a motion sensor. It's like as soon as somebody does something, it's reactive. Whereas LiDAR is showing you people. It could show you people as they approach, and so it's a bit more proactive. So you would know, you know, if people are running towards a wall, for example, you could then focus your cameras on that. Additionally, it makes better use of PTZ cameras. Yeah, I don't know. This was one of the more scary things that I saw there, and interesting things, because I can just imagine them wanting to add the next piece of it. Of automatically identifying potential targets or potential threats based on movement patterns, and also, you know, information coming from the camera, doing some sort of machine learning with that. And so I can just see that that's probably CES 2020-21 that they have this feature, but then also they're doing automatic threat identification, which in the past, you know, has been pretty sketchy. You know, people aren't able to get that right yet. AI isn't there yet for those types of things. So anyway, so I thought that was really cool, and I just wanted to share that with you. Even though it was scary, it's neat to see these types of technologies and how they're implemented. Additionally, I did ask about how much it is per sensor, and it's about $5,000 per LiDAR sensor to add it to an existing camera type system. So it's not like completely unreasonable to set up this type of system. So yeah, I thought that was really, really fascinating. Hey everyone, I hope you liked this little wrap up of CES that I put together. I want to do more of these types of things. I want to do more video. I want to be more involved, kind of sharing some of the things that I'm working on, sharing some of the things that are going on with me. Speaking of which, I'm going to ShmooCon tomorrow. I'll be in heading out to Washington, D.C. tomorrow. So I hope to get some footage and you know, do a little bit more of this. I really enjoy kind of the process of creating videos. It's always been something that I've really wanted to get into. And luckily with CES this year, it's just kind of all come together. So anyways, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, darkmatter, D4RKM4TTER. And hit me up with any suggestions or questions or stuff that you think I should cover. Yeah, I don't know what this is going to turn into or not or what, but yeah, this is pretty fun making. So anyways, until next time, peace.